Every great property manager eventually discovers that not all rentals are built the same. Your workflow, your liabilities, your tenant base, your automation needs, even your stress levels, all shift with the type of property you manage. That's why understanding property categories is more than a vocabulary lesson. It's a strategic decision about how you'll build your business. In this module, we're going to break down the three main pillars of property management: single-family, multifamily, and commercial. And we'll go far deeper than surface-level definitions. You'll learn how to evaluate each type not only from a management standpoint, but from a systems, cash flow, and scalability perspective with live examples of how you can automate and track each one through your REI Stack platform. Part 1. Single-family rentals. Single-family homes are where most landlords begin with one roof, one tenant, one relationship. It's the simplest structure operationally, but also the most personal. You're managing more than a property. You're managing someone's home. Your tenant often views the space as their house, not a unit in your portfolio, which changes how you communicate and handle service. Management focus areas. 1. Tenant relations and responsiveness. 2. Maintenance coordination and documentation. 3. Local regulation compliance. 4. Minimizing vacancy downtime. How REI Stack helps. 1. The CRM becomes your best friend in single-family management. Each tenant record stores lease dates, contact information, service requests, and notes about the property. 2. You can use automations for business to send renewal reminders, inspection notices, or maintenance follow-ups automatically. 3. When a tenant moves out, the contracts and docs with electronic send feature makes the process seamless with security deposit accounting, final inspection forms, and refund confirmations all stored digitally. For financial control, your KPI dashboard tracks monthly rent collection, repair costs, and net yield per property. The Turnkey Edge. For investors who prefer predictable income without management headaches, we offer the Section 8 Turnkey program through our connected business. We acquire, renovate, put a tenant, and deliver fully inspected Section 8 single-family homes with keys in hand. That is cash flow guaranteed. That's the single-family strategy at its highest level: predictable, compliant, and automated. Part 2. Multifamily properties. When you step into multifamily, you move from hospitality to logistics. You're no longer managing one household, you're managing a system of people, maintenance cycles, and service calls. Each additional unit introduces both leverage and complexity. You earn more per roof, but your systems must be twice as disciplined. Management focus areas. Coordinating shared systems like plumbing, HVAC, parking, waste, preventing tenant conflict, and enforcing building policies. Centralizing rent collection and maintenance requests. Streamlining turnovers and renewals. This is where real property management evolves into operations management. How REI Stack scales. You up? With REI Stack's CRM, each building can be treated as its own account, containing every tenant, lease, and maintenance record under it. The Automations for Business module lets you broadcast messages to all tenants in a property or floor with rent reminders, policy updates, or inspection notices. The payment portal allows multiple tenants to pay separately while syncing into one owner ledger. Your KPI dashboard now becomes a multi-layered control panel that shows occupancy rates, delinquency percentages, maintenance cost per door, and total monthly net operating income. Need to see how a specific property compares across your portfolio? Use the Deal Analyzer. You can review cash-on-cash return, cap rate, and debt service performance across multiple buildings instantly. And when new units hit the market, your Automations for Business can notify pre-qualified leads stored in your CRM, saving you days of manual outreach. Conflict management through systems. Multifamily means neighbor disputes are inevitable. That's where ScriptsPage comes in with standardized responses for noise complaints, parking issues, or maintenance requests. Your messages stay calm, consistent, and legally correct every time. By automating tone and timing, you remove emotion and replace it with professionalism. The power of shared efficiency. The beauty of multifamily management is scale. You can coordinate one lawn service, one insurance policy, and one maintenance vendor across several income streams. The key is organization. Inside REI Stack, The Contracts and Docs with Electronic Send system lets you send and sign multiple leases at once, track renewals, and store every document by property or unit number. If you manage on-site staff such as cleaners, maintenance techs, leasing agents, you can log their performance using your KPI dashboard to monitor service times and work order completion rates. No guessing, no misplaced clipboards, just pure digital clarity. Vacancy management example. When a tenant gives notice, your automation triggers instantly. A pre-written message goes to your maintenance vendor. The listing is pushed through your website with new photos. Your dialer calls any waitlisted applicants from the CRM. Once rented, the new lease is generated and e-signed inside Contracts and Docs. Everything happens in sequence, automatically with no missed steps, no wasted days. That's what makes multifamily operations profitable: speed and precision. Part 3. Commercial properties. Commercial management is a different world entirely, with longer leases, higher stakes, and more analytical oversight. You're dealing with businesses, not households. That means the conversations change from "my sink is leaking" to "our quarterly revenue dropped. We may need to renegotiate rent." In commercial property, management is half operations and half negotiation. Management focus areas. 1. Enforcing lease terms and common area maintenance or CAM reconciliations. 2. Coordinating with vendors and inspectors for safety and compliance. 3. Understanding legal obligations under commercial zoning and ADA standards. 4. Tenant retention and lease restructuring during market shifts. How REI Stack brings institutional structure to your commercial game. Start with your underwriting page because it lets you forecast tenant profitability and assess rent stability before signing long-term leases. Your deal analyzer calculates true net operating income by factoring in taxes, insurance, maintenance, and vacancy probabilities. And the KPI dashboard visualizes tenant payment patterns, expense ratios, and lease expiration timelines. When you manage commercial tenants, documentation is everything. Using Contracts and Docs with Electronic Send, you can handle complex leases, amendments, and addenda digitally. No paper, no lost revisions. Every document is stored with full signature audit trails. Your automations for business can be set to alert you months before a lease expires, giving you time to prepare renewal terms or market the space proactively. That's what separates a reactive landlord from a strategic operator. The compliance equation: commercial buildings bring extra liability from Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA requirements to fire safety standards. Every time an inspection or certification comes due, you can trigger it through your third-party integrations. Whether you need a licensed inspector, a notary for lease notarization, or an appraiser for valuation updates, you can order and track those tasks directly within REI Stack. Your KPI dashboard keeps compliance visible with no more guessing what's expired or due. Everything from elevator inspections to backflow testing can be scheduled and documented digitally. If a tenant ever challenges safety or accessibility, you have time-stamped proof that every inspection was completed. That's how professionals manage risk, not by avoiding it, but by organizing it. Financial mechanics across property types. Here's the real truth. Different property types demand different financial lenses. Single-family focuses on cash flow margin and tenant longevity. Multifamily measures efficiency per door and system cost per building. Commercial evaluates cap rate stability and lease term ROI. All three flow through the same REI Stack KPI dashboard, giving you a unified snapshot of performance across your entire portfolio. When you open the dashboard, you see income, statistics, and trends. Which properties require rent adjustments? Which buildings are burning too much on repairs? And where turnover is killing returns. Automation as a universal language. Regardless of property type, automation remains your greatest equalizer. Every move-in, rent notice, inspection, and renewal can be systemized. For single-family homes, automation saves time. For multifamily buildings, it ensures consistency. For commercial properties, it guarantees compliance. Automations for business let you define workflows. When a tenant signs a lease, the CRM updates automatically. When rent posts, the payment portal marks the ledger as cleared. When a lease nears expiration, both manager and tenant receive alerts: risk, responsibility, and return. Let's talk about risk. Every property type carries its own version of it. In single-family, vacancy risk dominates. In multifamily, maintenance and tenant conflict risk lead. In commercial, legal, and market cycle risk are the biggest players. You mitigate all three the same way, through visibility and process. The KPI dashboard quantifies the risk before it becomes loss. Your contracts and docs and third-party integrations provide legal documentation of every action. And your CRM keeps every conversation, invoice, and lease searchable forever. That's how modern landlords sleep at night, not because nothing goes wrong, but because everything that does is documented, handled, structured, and there are plans and procedures in place in case something happens. When systems outgrow property type, eventually your operation will transcend individual property categories. You'll no longer think of yourself as a single-family manager or commercial owner. You'll be an asset operator and someone who can manage any property class with identical precision. That's where REI Stack becomes your bridge to scale. The same CRM, automation engine, and KPI framework that runs your small portfolio will run your 500-unit company. When you build your operation right, your growth is exponential, not experimental. Legacy and leverage. Every decision you make now, such as what type of property to manage, what system to use, what documentation standard to follow, compounds over time. 5 years from now, your future self will either be buried under paperwork and burnout, or operating a management empire that runs on rhythm, not reaction. That's the difference between treating property management as a side gig and treating it like a business. Whether you manage one single-family home or 10 commercial complexes, the principle never changes. Systemize early, automate relentlessly, document everything. When you do, liability becomes leverage, and property type becomes just another dial on your control board.